Thank you very much, Chris, for the introduction. I think it's quite difficult now to build the bridge from the great speech from Jetta to the IT. But I think she helped us in explaining that we as IT managers can make a difference with our digital technology and with our capability which we have to put the human beings and the people in the middle of our activities. Not because we love technology, but because we love the impact of technology to our lives. And I would like to give you also some examples then later on how we are doing that and what can we do to make our life much, much easier. And my role at Fujitsu is the corporate IT strategy. So I'm reporting to Japan. I'm based in Munich in Germany, but I'm reporting to Tokyo at the headquarters. And with that, I have a global perspective and responsible for IT strategy and managing our transformation inside Fujitsu, which is sometimes difficult and sometimes a pleasure. Difficult because we are relying on our own IT services, so we use what we sell. I have no really operational people in my team. We are leveraging the internal IT service organization. It's sometimes a challenge because it also requires then a battle and competition with the external services and external business. So customer comes first in our organization, and sometimes our internal projects needs to push back a little bit, and we need to wait until the A-class people are available and coming back from projects from customers. So it's always a balance, but it makes a lot of fun, and we have good discussion in that sense. And hence, I would like to show you a little bit what we are doing in terms of digital transformation inside IT, inside Fujitsu. And so my role is the internal IT. It's not a sales pitch, it's not a marketing speech, it's really an internal IT inside-outside view. Yeah, so that's basically the concept of the presentation. Right, so what are we doing at Fujitsu? We are a global company. We are number one in Japan, still generating from our business 60% in Japan, 40% outside of Japan. We are, with that sense, number 5 global in the world on IT service providers. We are still spending a lot of money on R&D. And last year it was roughly $2 billion in R&D, mainly now in the digital terms, in artificial intelligence, in IoT, in digital services, and really in transforming our activities in the new world. We have more than 160,000 or roughly 160,000 employees, 100,000 of them in Japan and 60,000 outside in Japan, distributed mainly in Europe, US, Asia, and in the Oceania and Australia, and in more than 100 countries. So, and building the bridge to Jetta is basically the combination of technology, of information, and of the humans, so of the creativity, of the intelligence of people, and put the human being in the middle. That's what we are trying to do with our human-centric innovation, to really focus on solutions which can help the society to perform better and to be better positioned. If it's, for example, in the area of agriculture, where we support the information flow inside the whole supply chain of the agricultural industry, or if it's a prediction of the tsunamis in the oceans in the Pacific, where we have put sensors in the ocean to really predict when the next tsunami will come, or if it's in the health sector, where we work with the health industry to support the services for the doctors and medical industry. So all of that together is our business trying to transform our society into really human-centric innovation. Good, that should be enough for Fujitsu. And let's now get started into the agenda. So I would like to show you what is the foundation when you start transforming your own organization. Where do you need to focus on in your internal IT? So we will show you a little bit our stack and our activities in that sense, and give you some perspective how we are doing it and how we are govern our digital services inside the IT. And later on, I'll give you two examples of our future outlook, where we are working internally for the future activities. Now, if you ask me what is digital transformation, what does digital stands for, I would say there are 4 characters, 4 elements which are characterizing digital transformation. The one is that we're always connected everywhere, at every place, with every device. So you are connected on every place where you are. The second element is that most of the activities are based on cloud. It could be in a hybrid IT environment, but cloud will be engaged in some shape or form. The second element, or the third element, is that the business process gets automated. So you take out the friction of the processes, you take out manual work, you automate the processes as much as you can. And the fourth element, probably the most important one, that you can demonstrate benefits to the business. So you can demonstrate to the business that with this automation, by using the cloud, getting connected, you generate immediate benefit. Not long-term benefits, but immediate benefits. If you have these four elements, then you're probably on the right way to transform your organization into a digital world. Now, there are technologies who are disruptive, and I have selected some of them. Most of them you have heard, you have seen, and you have worked with. These are the areas which we are working on in our business. So we're trying also to use virtual reality, trying to work with HoloLens applications. Some of the main focus is on artificial intelligence or augmented intelligence, so technology who can help and support decision processes, and certainly Internet of Things. The connectivity of the different devices is certainly an area which we are very much focusing on right now. And then you see the other technologies here. Now, IT is playing an important role, and it's not just, and you will hear later on also the connectivity between business and IT. I think IT can be an enabler and should be the enabler for the business on one side. So really drive innovation from the IT perspective and bring ideas to the business. At the same time, the business is demanding us that we are more agile, that we are faster, that we are really using the IT in a much better way. So it's in both directions. It's not either way. It's in both directions, and then at the end of the day, you need an information technology management and delivery who answers to both demands. One is to driving the innovation, and one is then to answering to the business. And this circle is something which we are trying to accomplish also in organizational setup, and you will see later on some examples of that. There was always the word of bimodal and bimodular IT. Certainly you've heard about that. I think that doesn't work. It's not either way. It's not traditional and fast. It's not traditional and modern. It's both. It's multimodal. It's a mix of both. You have a hybrid environment. You have an organization where you need hierarchical. In organizations, also an organization like us, you need a certain hierarchical structure. Otherwise, you get lost in this corporate environment. On the other side, we are working very much and very often with virtual teams across the regions and across the globe. So you are very much working with a project with a beginning and an end in a virtual environment where you never meet your project managers other than in a virtual video conference. So you have to manage both organizational structures. Decision process could be central and could be sometimes regional or decentral and delegated to a project team. So you need also management structures and educated managers who are capable to do so and give up delegation and authority to a project team in that virtual new digital world. You have collaboration, so the IT should prepare, especially in times of security alerts, to propose and to prepare and provide close collaboration areas, environments where you can work in a closed shop. At the same time, you need to have an open collaboration to share the knowledge and experience across the organization. So all of that is multimodal, is hybrid, and it's not just old and new. It's a combined world which the IT needs to provide to the business. Now coming to the stack, if you would like to provide these information and these requirements to the business, we need to make sure in our IT that we can manage that and that we have a foundation ready before we can start working on new business services. If your network is not ready to provide data, voice, and information at the same time with an increasing demand, the business will not be happy. They cannot manage and they cannot work on new services. So the foundation is quite important. And we have created that picture to show the business that we need to focus on the infrastructure. We need to manage our infrastructure first before we can start working on new digital business services in each of these business segments and domains. So we have the network, we have the Active Directory, we have communication and collaboration, and then last but not least, the digital workplace. If you have created that foundation, then I think you can create working on more globalize the applications and globalize the business services on top of that. So you need the foundation to enable and driving the business towards the digital transformation. Now let's have a look to the network, starting with the network. I'm not sure when you went the last time to a data center. If you see such a picture, it's time to start an initiative on the network. and get your network IT guys in a task force to fix it. We have done that 5 years ago. We have just started last week another initiative to renew the network again, because we have grown up again, and what we have done 5 years ago, it's not valid anymore. It's not solid enough, so we need to continuously update our network and continuously work on that. And this includes, obviously, not just the cabling, it includes all of that, what you can see on the right side. So network is quite important. The risk of the connectivity is also an issue in terms of the security, and you see here some examples of the recent events which you obviously have followed. What started on the top with some medical devices who have found that there's an increased vulnerability in the health industry based on the connectivity of the devices in the medical industry. You have heard about the smart TV, and I think many users don't know what happens with their data when they're using a smart TV. Chrysler have recalled the cars based on the attempt to get access to the vehicle from remote. And then just recently, the cyber attack in Ukraine on the power supplies, the Yahoo data breach, which was not recognized but decreased the sales price significantly. The discussion on the US election breach, and we probably will follow then at 4 o'clock today the speech in the Congress when Coney will make some statements on that. So here is areas, and last but not least, last week or 2 weeks ago, the WannaCry ransomware attack, which also affected many of us and have obviously initiated some additional work on the weekends. So all of that are risks who are getting more and more visible in our world and needs to be addressed. And usually the IT organization is very much engaged in these discussions. Now, what does it mean for us as an IT organization? We need to look into our digital identities. We need to look what has changed in that world and what needs to be done. In the network, I think we are really pretty much okay these days. So we have our network under control. We know how to protect the network, and we have a lot of technologies implemented. Now, if you see the history from the mainframe to client-server technology to the social networks, we have now, with the Internet of Things, the connectivity and the access to the human-centric computing and the human integration, which means that your digital identity is everywhere and needs to be protected. And we have done that with our Active Directory when we created out of 100 domains and individual Active Directory domains, without going into too much detail, that we have created that with one forest, with one root domain, and now accessing all these different geographies and domains under one root, and then providing the resources through that domain. So that could also simplify the collaboration and making sure that we have access to all calendars and to all information across the globe. Now, very, very easily explained now. But the issue is that in that structure, you still had all the administrations in the regions. So we have hundreds of administration rights in the regions. And if some attack happens in the global Active Directory, where an attacker can steal the identity of one domain administrator with the required passwords, he can then get access to all the other servers in that domain. So what we have done is we have closed that, and we have moved basically out of these 100 domain rights into a quarantine environment where we have only few people who have access to the administration rights, and they manage basically globally the entire domain across the globe. So these are activities which are helping us to protect our identities, to protect our environment from the increasing attacks from outside, and we are continuing working in that direction. So this is also one area which needs to be addressed. Now, if you have done that network, if you have done your Active Directory, if you have done your protection of your identity, let's talk about communication and collaboration. Let's talk about the way how we as an organization work together. And this is, I think, one of the facts that we see more and more in our young generation and in our young employees. They're used to have at least 3, 4, 5 devices. And they're used to get work in the same way as they work at home. They would like to work in the business. So we see that the generation today are used to work very much on the mobile. So mobility first is certainly something which we need to address in our organization as well. Although, on the other side, we still have the generation from 96, 5, 90, 80, or 90, 50 even, who are not used to it at all. So if your age pyramid in the organization is somehow distributed also, not just the young people, but also the mid-age and the older people, you need to balance that as well. Some of the people of the older generation sometimes get lost with all the mobile services. So you need to balance both. Now, if you talk to this new way of, or new workforce, new knowledge workers, you will see that they ask for kind of autonomy for their productivity. They want to work at any time. They want to work from home. They want to work from the office, but in a way that they can manage it on their own. So it's not anymore a work-life balance, it's a work-life flow. And you use basically every micro minute and micro moment in your life to work, you check your emails or to post something. At the same time, when you're working at home, you do your homework, and then later on you continue with your work. So it's no longer 5 to 8, it's no longer 9 to 7, it's really a work-life flow across the entire week. And this needs to be enabled. So the IT organization, we need to enable our workforce that they can adapt this lifestyle for the future. And we have made a survey just recently, actually, around 1,600 people, executives. It finished in February 2017 around the globe. What is the main focus on this new digital world? Is it something I need to be aware of? We are hacked. Okay, coming back. All right, so that was a survey. So it was a worldwide survey in Japan and across the globe.
Disruptive technology.
Disruptive technology, right. You're very smart, actually. It's a smart TV, maybe, right? I should stop here, rather. All right, so that was a survey in February. And we asked, basically, have you started your digital transformation already? Have you done something already? And close to 70% said yes. There are initiatives underway, not necessarily a strategy, but we have started initiatives, we have started programs to work on our digital transformation. And then we ask, in which areas have you worked for? What is the main focus? And the majority was marketing, it was operation and maintenance, and it was the workforce. So these were the three main areas where organizations around the globe have started initiatives. So if you look then to the workforce, it's mainly moved from a workplace, fixed workplace, to an activity-driven workforce or activity-based working, so that you really manage your work-life flow in an efficient way. And I think there are three topics which needs to be mentioned. One is that the people want to work outside of the office. They want to contribute to the community, so they want to be active in knowledge sharing, they want to be active in social networks. And last but not least, we also need to make sure that we can federate with partners, that we can work in a community, not just inside the organization, but also outside the organization, with partners, with business partners, and with others outside our own organization, like customers, and as I said, as partners. So this collaboration platform is quite important. And this needs to be enabled from the IT organization. We have chosen Microsoft. Laurent, you will probably talk about your Spark solution and other solution from Cisco tomorrow. So it's not just that Microsoft is the best. We just have chosen Microsoft. Cisco and other companies have similar good solutions and services available. So what we have done is we have created this communication platform where we have, obviously you see Office 365, you see the video, but you see also third-party collaboration with Box as for the content management, where we share documents in a collaborative way. We provide teleworking activities and obviously the environment for business collaboration. So you need to create such a network. Otherwise you can't meet the demands from the new generation, from the workforce. And this is one of our biggest initiatives right now, which we are rolling out globally. We are in the way to roll it out in Japan, now in the US, and later on then in Europe and in the other regions. So we're doing it in a sequence, and we are working on that right now. So that's one of our biggest initiatives to support the business. For the external market, we are providing connected services. So you have seen earlier the slide with the human-centric innovation. The elements of that, the technology components, are a security stack where we provide security services, cloud, artificial intelligence, IoT. In the middle, then the data visualization through our big data experts. And therefore, we then combine the views and provide services to our customers. Now, as I said earlier, we are using our own internal IT, our service provider, our own IT services group. So internally, we are using the same technology. Internally, we are basically discussing how can we apply these services also internally. And what we are doing right now is we are shifting our internal systems into our own cloud. So we are providing and transforming all our applications and systems into the cloud. This is a process which is going on right now. It's another big initiative where we really use our internal clouds environment. We are also developing AI projects. So we are using own AI projects and initiatives to test how AI can help us internally on our own IT. So we're driving this in-house transformation by using these technologies. And last but not least, this is big in Japan actually. They are using kind of, let's say, teleworking systems for the workforce in Japan. I'm not sure who from you worked in Japan or have been there. This is a very, very radical change and a cultural change. That usually the workforce in Japan has to be in the office. Usually they don't leave the workplace before the boss is leaving the office. So homework is not possible due to also the infrastructure. You have very narrowed houses, you have very small apartments, so you don't have the space to work from home. So this is a big change to provide services and infrastructure that the people can work from home. It's a radical change for our own organization and for Japan. So it also requires a lot of training and enablement for the people and for the workforce in Japan. I think we are in Europe, we are more used to it right now. But this cultural change is in every digital transformation project one important topic, that the culture and the impact for the culture is very important. Good, now with that, I would like to show you what we have done from the organizational point of view. And where do we see that our IT organization is changing towards based on these digital transformation and these digital programs. In the past, we are very much focusing on IT operations, on cost reduction measures. We are focusing on optimization of the IT infrastructure and virtualization, the data center, all these traditional classical activities which we are doing. Now it's shifting. It's shifting into more business, into more strategy topics. We're talking more with the business about strategic direction. We're talking more with the business about change management, about innovation, about engagement with the business. So the task has not entirely disappeared from the IT operations activities, but it's additionally, we have new activities in an increasing way. So we also need new people in our IT organization. We need new skills. We need new understanding of business processes. Otherwise, we cannot manage the demands anymore. So it's a combination of the former IT topics plus the new activities. Now, if you see then the role which we have all to fulfill, it's from the internal focus system expertise and service provider, moving gradually to more an influencer through the transformation, where we gain influence to the business by transforming our IT organization and create benefits for the business. So we are a business enabler with process expertise. We support the business in this transformation, up to an evangelist and account manager, where we really work with the business as a peer-to-peer and discuss on boards and discuss together with the business how we can enable the business strategy and how we can be a game changer from the IT perspective. So the skills is shifting from the former IT perspective and IT organization to really a new CIO role, where we create business value and where we also ensure our relevance as an IT organization. And I would like to encourage you in your IT organization that you really work with the business to demonstrate your value, you demonstrate your expertise, demonstrate your willingness for change, and the willingness and the capability to transform the business with the new technology. But you need to, for that, you first need to build credibility that you can manage your functions. So without the functional network, the business will not believe you that you can help them in transforming the business. So think about the foundation that you create that credibility. And what helps is that we, or at least we see that as an important factor, that you can describe your enterprise architecture, then you understand how your enterprise architecture looks like, that you can visualize the impact of changes in the enterprise architecture, that you understand how IT services impacts the architecture and how the business transformation benefit from an agile architecture or from a flexible architecture. So enterprise architects are also very important consultants, very important skills in the IT organization, because they are capable to understand the impact of any change, of any digitalization in the architecture of the whole application and infrastructure. So this is quite important, and it enables a combination between the IT services around these enterprise, around our IT, and the link into the business transformation. And if you see another picture on that, is basically like that. You have the business as a yellow dot, who is demanding, who is entering the IT organization. You have then functions like business engagement and transformation planning, IT strategy and architecture planning. These are the blue boxes or the blue dots here. So these are important functions which you need to establish if you want to speak with the business in an appropriate and structured and systematic way. And then at the end of the day, you have across the organization functions who are then executing the transformation, and all of that in a network structure. It's not a hierarchy, it's not a linear structure, it's a network structure to enable the fast and to enable the speed and to enable the execution. And then obviously you need some governance, you need a CIO board, you need an architecture board, you need some kind of mechanism to manage that together with the business, understanding the demands and create then the right solutions. So these functional and organizational network is something which we have started to implement, which is another change for us from a traditional IT to a new digital IT and transformational organization. So this is a new activities, and we also, that you don't need to read that. It's an eye chart actually. I don't expect that you can read that. I just want to visualize you that we have in fiscal year 15, we had only visualized few transformational projects, only few of them, and this has significantly increased. The demand has increased, the project execution had increased, and we try to structure that, linked it then into the strategy. So what is the globalization? What is increased profitability? What is more on business analytics? So we cluster our project in that way that we can show the business what we are doing and visualize the value of the IT for the business and to the business. So visualization of the activities is another lever to work more closely with the business and enable the transformation. This is one thing. Now, it's changing the model. Digital transformation is changing the model, it's changing the culture, it's changing the way how we work, moving from a traditional cost center to a vital element of the business strategy, moving from regional IT infrastructures into global shared services. And here, by the way, for the global shared services, we are very much active here in Poland since 8-9 years now in Łódź, where we have increasing shared service activities, and Maggie is leading that operation in Łódź, and is helping us to really use this incubator here in Poland as a leverage for all other global activities. So you see the change here on the left side and the transforming into the new activities, into the new model. And as I said, you need to provide the infrastructure for that to make that happen. Now, these are all the new requirements from a CIO. Again, if you look at these posted here in the postcards, it's not just anymore IT, it's change management, it's a transformation on the left side, it's investment which needs to be managed and prioritized together with the CFO. It's a cultural change. You're a change agent in your IT if you support the digital transformation in your organization. Obviously, IT security plays an important role. Communication, it's crucial. Our organization, we are not used to communicate. We lived in the basement basically and behind the closed windows, and now we need to be in the upper floors. We need to communicate with the business much more often and more regular than in the past. And you see the other topics, innovation, the governance, the global initiatives, and obviously execution needs to be managed as well in a very fast and demanding way. So the role of a CIO is changing. The role of a CIO has changed and will continue to be changed by focusing, wherever you are in your organization, by focusing on one of these topics. Now, I would like to give you a little bit of an outlook what we are doing on our organization now, and we are doing that as we speak. we had in the past, we had these silos. This is visualized on the left side here, where we have silo organization, everybody's doing it on its own. There might be some communication, but not really in a very effective, systematic way. And we want to move it into a network. We want to move it into a network structure. Remember that picture with the yellow dot and the blue and red dots? This is something which we want to establish also across the globe. And today, this is a picture of today. If you transfer that to the situation we have today, regional CIOs in the regions. So these columns here are the regions, and in each of these regions we have the same function for services, for network services, for workplace services, data center management, and so on. So all these IT services disciplines are covered in each of these regions. And then we have our IT headquarters in Japan, and we're trying to coordinate that somehow. Very inefficient, I have to say. I'm pretty sure that we have double investments. I'm pretty sure that in region A we invest in a new network, or we invest in a new services, and at the same time we have the same investment in the other two regions. And sometimes we capture that, sometimes we see that through our threshold and processes. I'm very sure that we don't see all of that. So it has to change. In times of limited budgets, we have to change that. And what we are doing right now is we flip that into a, let's say, cross-regional structure. So we will have, for each of these service domains, we have a global domain ownership. This could be someone in the region, like here in the red dot, that someone in the region takes the responsibility for all the global services. It doesn't mean that this person has to be sit into the at headquarters in Japan, but it has to be a competence who is then providing global services to all regions. And the CIO role is changing more to an account manager. Remember this arrow from the previous slide on the right side. So it's more an account manager, as a business engagement manager. They don't take care anymore about the IT operations. This is done by the domain managers in each of these regions. And we are doing it right now and implementing that. And we see a lot of success and also adoption and acceptance from the business in the sense that we are shifting now into a more efficient digital organization with global domain leadership. So we want to globalize our business. We want to get rid of these regional investments without taking away responsibility in the region. We also believe that IT needs to be close to the business. Not everything has to be centralized, but we need a structure where we can manage that globalization more efficiently. Right, with that, I would like to show you two more slides which we are working on right now. These are all eye charts, so again, you don't need to read that. And these are typical Japanese slides, by the way. Usually you have that, actually it's already fine-tuned, so usually you see much more information. What you see here is that we want to strengthen the collaboration, and we visualize the correlation between data by using AI. So we basically, it's all about visualization and using algorithm mathematical model to visualize correlations and to help the business to decide what needs to be done. This is information where we used the business plan and predict then the results and the execution of the business plan by using structured and unstructured data. This is a model which we are testing right now. So this is also very innovative, but as I said, it's an example and it's a pilot right now. And the other thing is, this is very much advanced already, actually. This is another thing where we work with the business on a more prediction and predictive information, and also combining that into a more real-time dashboard so that we have real financial data available for the business to drive the decision process much more efficiently, and move away from static dashboards into real-time flexible dashboard, also using AI technology, and especially predict then the forecast, have forecast analytics, and visualize these data. So this is another BI initiative, BA I should say, business analytics initiative, which we are working on with our internal IT and with our experts to demonstrate to our CFO and CEO that we can provide much more information out of these data if we use these new digital technologies. So with that, I think I'm finished. This should give you, or should have given you, an overview of what we are doing internally, that we're very much focusing on the foundation without losing the access and the communication to the business. And I'm more than happy to answer some question, or if you want to stay in touch with me, Here are my coordinates, so please feel free to contact me afterwards at any time. Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank you very much, Benno. We still have some time, and we have some questions on Slido.
Yes.
So the first question is, how do you place human aspect in the center of your services and technology?
Yes. This is a very important point, that we try to support our people in that transformation. So I'll give you one example in terms of trainings. We want to make sure that our teams are trained in the new technology. You have the challenge, if you automate processes, that very often people will lose their working place. They will lose their job, basically. Or we transform that to our offshore center. So people in Germany, in UK, in Spain, they will lose their job because we transform that business into other places, or we automate the processes. So what we are trying to do is constantly training. So we want to reskill the people into new areas. We create also project teams where they can work in new domains. If it's BI, for example, or if it's new competence center, that we transform the people into the new areas. Can we cover everybody? No, probably not. We will probably, in that transformation, we will probably lose some of our people. It would be too idealistic and too naive to believe that everybody will manage that transformation. That will not happen. But we try to support that as much as we can. And training, communication, actively engagement in the people, so not wait with the information at the last minute, but get them engaged in this transformation is one aspect where we are doing to do so, internally. Externally, again, we are trying to really put the human being and the society in our middle of our activities, but that's more on the external side. So I hope that's answering the question.
Thank you.
IBM is calling thousands.
Yeah, this is a quite popular question, quite controversial. Yes.
Well, I cannot say about IBM because I'm not IBM. So it's, what I see is that people want to have flexibility. That's for sure. What I can tell you is, we have in Munich, there is, I'm not sure if you've been there, but in northern part of Munich, there's a kind of little Silicon Valley right now. So there's Fujitsu, there's IBM, there's Microsoft, there's Accenture, Entity Data, who else? And two others, actually. So there's a huge of campus. And Microsoft has created a huge parking area for all the employees. And I can tell you, every day when I'm in the office, only 1/3 of these parking areas blocked. All other areas is free. So people, they want to have that flexibility. They want to work from home and they want to work in the office. So we don't want to mandate that the people come into the office. What we are doing right now in our tower in Munich, and which happened also in other places, we create these open working places. So we don't have just open offices. We have areas, activity-based areas, where you can make a phone call, where you can sit together with colleagues, where you have a relaxing zone like we have here in the conference zone as well. So that is what we are trying to attract the office for our employees. But we keep them also outside from the office. They are willing and they are open to work outside from the office. And this needs to be, I think we need a culture of trust with our employees. This is something which I would expect for myself. I don't want that my boss controls me every day what I'm doing. And the same for the team. So I would give also Maggie the authority to not to tell me every day what she is doing. Yeah? So
disagree.
With some control, obviously. No,
Okay,
seriously, there's a kind of trust which we need to enable the people.
Yeah.
Good,
and the last question from David is, on the top you can see.
Since teams are going to be distributed, working hours won't be fixed anymore. How does management shift? What are the challenges? Yes, that's true. Again, that is something which we are working with HR and with our Workers' Council also intensively. This is a huge debate which we have with our social partners, and we are not yet there. We still have our very strict working hours. I think the Workers' Council, the social partners needs to be also gain more flexibility on that, and we need to test new models. Flexible working time is something which we are trying to implement, but we are not yet there. So the challenge is that you have this flexibility in your organization and that you manage that in an appropriate way. There are models where you can put your hours on a bank and then use it later on, these kind of things, but we are not perfect on that yet. Yeah, so and it needs a lot of discussion with the Workers' Council on German local level, in UK, and on the European Workers' Council as well. So this discussion will continue.
Okay, Benno. Thank you very much again. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
And you have your super speaker.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.